did he discuss the halting of or filling of vacancies in those discussions you held? Because it was also included in that directive.
Well, I can't recall that in particular, but I know that
Not particularly in the portfolio committee, in your meetings that you held before the directive that was issued.
yes, I'm saying the directive that says you must freeze the appointments. When we were discussing the PTT, I don't recall that discussion. But the other directive which we have not spoken to of the ports of entries, we have had a presentation on that one at the college.
Okay. In your understanding, and being there in the Department of Subs, who has the authority to decide on the decision with regard to issues of employment in Subs? Who has that?
Well,
Having the Minister and the National Commissioner.
we do play a role in this regard. For instance, when a national commissioner gets appointed, a panel was set in, and the Minister of Police was in that panel. Of course, once that has been done,
Positions not so.
yes.
Then the lower position.
Those ones will just be briefed that this is appointed for this position. I don't remember participating in the panel that decided who becomes the Deputy National Commissioner, for instance. We're just briefed that so-and-so is appointed National Commissioner. Not acting Deputy National Commissioner, or so-and-so is appointed Divisional Commissioner. We get briefed. We have never participated in those.
Then looking at the directive, because that directive didn't talk about disbandment of the PKTT only. It also talked about halting in filling of vacancies within Subs. And if we are going to look at that, and it is the letter written by, it's a directive, in fact, from the minister, can you say that it was correct? Because, for instance, before you came here to that table where you are sitting, a former minister, Cele, was here, said it doesn't have to do anything of employment.
He was correct, yeah.
He was correct.
When he said that, yeah.
Then when you are having a directive of saying that don't fill up the post, it means that there was an interference.
Look, well, the minister
in the work of the National Commissioner.
The minister can communicate that I need to discuss with you these issues that I have picked up, which I think need to be looked at by yourself around this. But once you say don't do it in the manner in which that note was crafted, that becomes a problem.
So the minister cannot take that decision on his own.
Yeah.
He must wait for the National Commissioner.
Not necessarily to wait for the National Commissioner. There must be an engagement between the Minister and the National Commissioner.
Okay, thank you. Then Deputy Minister, you don't know, in paragraph 57, you also say that you don't know what informed the minister's decision to issue that directive of December, 31st December 2024. Did the minister ever, when maybe he was briefing you with other issues or anything, did he ever raise concerns about the PKTT or the complaints he received about its irregular constitution?
I can't say the PKTT was irregularly constituted because it was not.
Before the directive it was issued.
Before and after, the PKTT even now is not irregularly constituted. It was constituted in a proper manner. When I say I, however, do not know what informed the minister's decision to issue the directives in December, I don't know what was going through his mind when he wrote that letter. He, of course, in his explanation, he says he was seated at home and he wrote that directive.
Why I'm raising this? It is because the minister had concern of the PKTT that was established for a long time, and its mandate was being renewed, and it was incurring budgetary constraint at some point because of its extension. So he regarded that as an irregular expenditure. Then, based on your experience and understanding, would you agree with such a proposition that says, indeed, if you are extending the task team time and again, it became or it incurred an irregular expenditure?
No, the political killings tax team never incurred irregular expenditure that I know of. If it did, I'm not aware of such a thing. There was no time frame that the PKTT is going to exist from January to December. It was established to deal with a specific problem, and for as long as the problem it has not been completely resolved, that is the cases that came out of it, you can't do away with that task. And for you to then to effectively deal with that, that's why we spoke of a phased-in approach, wherein you create the capacity to deal with that. Mind you, in I think October, November, somewhere there, we were engaged in the organizational structure of SAPS, where we made proposals that ended up being accepted by management and ultimately by labor, and signed off by the National Commissioner after the SSSB forum, where negotiations between SAPS and organized labor take place on changes that get effected with regard to the organizational structure of the South African police. So that signing off then created a platform wherein we need to capacitate appropriately our murder and robbery unit that will be able to take over all murder-related cases in the Republic. And the PKTT was, the work that it was doing ultimately was going to be infused into that institution. But because you have just approved it and you are going to deal with capacitating that institution, until you finish that process, there will be coexistence of two. Your PKTT will continue to exist, and as you face it into the murder and robbery unit, it will be a process that will happen over time. It might take you six months, it might take you 12 months. It will depend on how fast that process unfolds. And between now and that time that it gets integrated, it will obviously incur expenses, but those expenses will not become irregular. They are within the law, and if the Auditor General then come to establish that no, this thing is irregular, he will do so and express an opinion. But I don't think the accounting officer will allow a situation where finances of the institutions are spent irregularly. That's why I'm saying there's no expenditure which was irregular that was incurred by the PKTT.
But there were increasing costs that were there in financing their operations, that is the PKTT. In fact, if there were, did you ever discuss that in your meetings that you held prior to the directive?
Well, any task team that you form, it will increase your expenses because you are creating something that is not there. And you are going to take personnel from other provinces to go and work. In this case, you are taking people from other parts of the country to go and work in KZN. They don't stay there. So when they arrive there, you must deal with their needs, both accommodation and transfer costs and all those things, a cost that you didn't have before you took that decision. So it's logical that your expenses will increase in this regard. But I don't think that should be what guides us. What guides us is the problem at hand that we want to deal with. And if we are going to incur cost in dealing with that problem, so be it. And I think that's what happened. I'm not saying we don't care about the expenses of the state. We care a lot. And we want to use them sparingly. But where circumstances pushes us, like in this case, where you had an outcry, you had a commission set up to look at the matters that were taking place in KZN, we had to finance a response to that phenomena. And that's why we ended up having these expenses that we incurred.
Okay. You mentioned that consultation would have been good as a matter of courtesy. You were not consulted whatsoever. Given your comment on courtesy, how would you categorize the minister's directive? Would you say that the minister acted in good faith? I know when you were interacting with the senior counsel, you said that it was problematic where the minister, you don't know what went on in the mind of the minister to issue such a directive. And now I want, how would you categorize the minister's directive given on the 31st December?
Well, the 31st December is the 31st December, Honorable. It's New Year's Eve. And well, personally, that day I observe the end of the year and the beginning of the new year. How do I categorize that? It's unusual. I think that's why I say it's very difficult to comprehend what was going through his mind as he was penning out that letter.
Is there any other directive that the minister had ever given to the department apart from this one of the PKTT that had an immediate flavor in it?
Not to my knowledge, but there have been interaction between the minister and the national commissioner. Some of the interactions did not include us, and they were able to communicate, and things got done. It might be in other instances it delayed here and there, but they ended up being done. This, I think, was I think it's the only communique that I know of that came and brought us here.
You mentioned that the interface between the executive oversight and the operational autonomy is constitutionally delicate. Can you, DM, expand, highlighting the delicacy of the interaction, and where do we draw the line?
Yeah, the executive authority is the political head of the institution, and the accounting officer is the administrative head of the institution. The two have authority or power. Let me say the two have power. But in the exercise of their power, they must take into consideration each other's existence and interface in such a manner that they complement each other's work. I know it's a very difficult environment within government, both national, provincial, and local our municipalities, where the interface tend to be sometimes a bit difficult for the incumbent to manage. But in the main, the relationship between the two is dialectical in the sense that the political authority, the executive authority, needs the accounting officer and vice versa. They must complement each other. If they work together well, you won't be here. But if there's a misstep on the two, you will come here quite often.
And consult each other.
Absolutely.
Lastly, Deputy Minister, in paragraph 17, you are saying that the current minister he didn't give you any delegated responsibility, both of you as deputy ministers. You are there in the office, and you are saying that you have said the minister is still familiarizing himself with the office. Can you say that the minister didn't familiarize himself with the issues of PKTT because an immediate directive was given? But now you are still waiting patiently.
Thank you, Honourable Member. Yes, we don't have delegated powers signed off that this is what you do, this is what you are doing. But we had work to do, and we were not like sitting in the office not knowing what to do. I have a program that says this is what we are going to do, and today I have a program that says I'm here. In fact, since yesterday and today and tomorrow, if the committee will still require me to be here. If not, we will work out a program of what to do tomorrow when we rise from here. Yes, I don't have any other better explanation, really, that the minister did not give us delegated authority up to now, except that that which I said, that I believe he was still familiarizing himself. But I think from where we are now, from the beginning up to now, I think he's ready to do that. Because, you know, even by the time the directive came out, I think we were almost at the tail end, even though the organogram was not yet signed off. As I said, I think it was signed off around May of subs. But I think it will be fair for me to sit here, Chair, and say that the minister is ready. If he knows it happens that this process is concluded tomorrow and they say everybody go to work, we should be able to have delegations. Yeah.
Okay. You know what, Minister? I'm just finishing.
You
You
show,
know what, Minister?
Honorable Sokanyile, you show respect to others by respecting time allocated to you. That's how
know
you
me.
show
I
respect to.
always
That's how
respect
you show respect to others.
No, it's just a comment to assure the Deputy Minister that this Adhoc Committee will issue a directive with immediate effect that these Deputy Ministers are given, are delegated their responsibilities. It will be this Adhoc Committee. Thank you, Chairperson.
Pass the microphone.
Thank you, Chair. May I proceed? DM, how do you work without delegated powers? You wake up in the morning, you go to the office and do what? DM, did you get my question?
Oh, okay. I thought
You
you.
wake up in the morning, you bath, you wear a very nice suit, arrive there in the department, and do what?
Well, as
Can you get close to the mic?
okay. No, thanks, Honorable. You are right. It will appear like we don't have anything to do, but we do, because the department that we are dealing with is vast, and you need to have your pulse on what is happening with the entities that are there. We have to ensure that the ministry is functional, the department is working, coordination is done. The interaction that we were having of the things that needs to be done gets done. That's why you have policing taking place in the country. The fact that we are not delegated specific responsibilities, it doesn't mean that we don't have things to do. We do.
Does it usually take this long?
Of course, but there is a difference between the 6th and the 7th administration. In the 6th administration, I came in within a short space of time. I got my delegated responsibilities, which is attached there. And the reason why it was so quick is because I was working with another police officer in the form of General Kele. And fast forward to now, the minister comes from a different environment. And this ministry, Honorable, it's complex. You can't just say you are responsible for this, you are responsible for that, without having that deeper understanding yourself. And I think it was necessary for the minister to go through the processes that he has gone through. And as I said earlier, that if this process is concluded tomorrow, I think, and the minister is coming back into office tomorrow, he will be able to allocate us responsibilities because he fully understands SAPS and its operation now as we speak. In fact, he's wiser. He's much, much wiser. Thank you.
Okay, you arrive at SAPS in 2019.
Yeah.
General Spear testified under oath before this Adhoc Committee and said, everyone in the SAPS knows Ket Mathale because he's popular within the organization for the work he's doing in the SAPS. How well do you know Mr. Mathale?
I think, I don't want to say it was, you can't say everyone.
Can you get close to
You
your mic?
can't say, why is it that it looks like I'm far from the mic when you speak, Honorable? You can't say everybody knows him because that might not be factual. But you can say there are some people who know him in SAPS. That will be accurate because indeed it's some. Personally, I don't know him. I don't know him. I only came to know him when these issues started to hit the wall and it was in the public space. But I didn't get the opportunity to meet with him.
Okay. Do you think it is in the best interest of the crime-fighting efforts to dissolve the political killings task team?
It's in the best interest of the crime-fighting effort. The political task team, it was not necessarily SAPS response to fighting crime. It was a SAPS response to fighting political killings that happened in KZN. And it did a very good job as a task team. But when you want to respond to fighting crime, the organizational structure that has been signed off by the National Commissioner, I think it helps us to have an instrument that we can effectively use to fight crime, because it has taken into consideration a number of factors into it. And the need to, for instance, when we separated visible policing into two, to have operational response as a division and to have policing as a division was part of that response. The way crime intelligence have been, the organizational structure have been structured now, it's a way that I can say we have positioned ourselves appropriately to fight crime with that. Crime intelligence, the way it is structured now, is not the same as the way it was structured, I think, 2018, which was signed off we had a process which we started in the 6th administration of how crime intelligence must look like. And in that engagement, we also engage with the Joint Standing Committee on Intelligence about the structure of crime intelligence. And we discussed, they made their input, and they said, yeah, I think now you are better structured, which now has been approved as a structure that will assist us. So the combination of properly structured crime intelligence and the detectives section, that is a better organized way to respond to the high rate of crime. But the task team did its work, and it did its work effectively. And task teams, at some point when the task is no longer at hand, they cease to exist, but there are no time frames.
It performed its tasks effectively.
Yeah.
So, does that mean you don't agree with the sentiments that it is not adding any value in policing in South Africa?
Yeah, let me say yes.
Okay. We can pass that. The task team in itself is comprised, is a multidisciplinary team.
Yeah.
It's comprised of various departments, which some do not even fall under SAPS.
Yeah.
Do you think it was a rational decision to want to dissolve without consulting the sister departments that are part of the team?
Yeah, look, any effective investigation that will lead to prosecution must always be prosecutorial guided, because prosecution plays a role in the fight against crime or dealing with criminality. So once you have got a prosecutorial-led process of investigation, in most cases, the outcome of that process is always good. Unlike an investigation that is not prosecutorial guided, you will go to and fro on a matter that you can go once to the prosecution and they say this is the right thing, let's do it. So it was a good thing to integrate them. Of course, when you say this team must fold, there is nothing wrong in you taking such a decision, but embarking on a process that takes everybody on board as you implement. You can't take a decision and implement, and when in the course of implementing, you then want to solicit an opinion. That might have shortcomings. So it's important that all the role players must be taken on board. By the way, they did not establish themselves, they were established. So as you disestablish, you must take them on board.
Okay. We have received numerous testimonies as the Adhoc Committee, some with contradicting statements. Some reckon that the decision to dissolve the PKTT is a policy matter. Some reckon that it is purely an operational matter, which does not fall within the ambits of ministers' powers. So what's your take on that?
Look, a decision to say that we think the task team has done its work, but we believe we must strengthen this capability that must deal with everything that has to do with murder. There's nothing wrong with that decision. It, in fact, is the right decision to say we must deal with murder, irrespective of where it comes from, whether it affects a politician or it affects traditional leaders or ordinary people. We must deal with it. Therefore, let's strengthen our capacity to deal with that. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, it was a good decision to discuss along those lines, given the structure that we have adopted. The issue is the implementation of that decision. If you hear everybody involved, nobody says, no, this team must continue existing forever. There is general consensus that it must discontinue. The issues is how it must be done. The National Commissioner says it must be a phased-in approach, which is correct. It's a transition. You can't implement a decision to de-establish a task team of this nature without taking into consideration how do you deal with the things that it was engaged with without a transitionary phase. You can't. It can't work. That's why today, seated here, we are discussing here, and the team exists out there. And you look at the directives. It's just that we're discussing it. It's written here, but it's irrelevant. That directive. January has come and gone. We are now in October. We are discussing it because of the impact it has had on the issues that we're dealing with. So, yeah, it was not permanent, and at some point it had to fold. Even now, at some point it's going to fold, and the approach of management and everybody is that it will be phased out approach.
Okay. We also have received testimonies from Minister Mkhwanazi, who testified that beyond 2022, the political killing system was not supposed to be in place. So, in a nutshell, meaning that since 2022, the PKTT was operating irregular. Former Minister Cele said in March 2023, the Interministerial Committee actually extended the lifespan of the PKTT, which later in 2024, I think April, the PKTT also met with the president, and the president gave them a thumbs up and that they must continue. So if you're able to grasp what these events that I'm trying to, you'd say that there is contradiction between the two.
Look, like I said, earlier on, Honorable, there was a question to the effect that the PKTT have irregular expenditures. That can only arise if they operate in an illegal. Their existence is illegal. So anything they incur is illegal. And I am of the view that there is nothing illegal about the PKTT. And at no stage did it operate in an illegal environment. If it did, I am not aware of that.
Do you know a work study that has influenced the construction of a new organogram?
Yes.
When was the new organogram agreed and concluded?
It was signed off now, I think May 2020, this year.
May 2025.
Yeah.
Meaning that it cannot have a retrospective effect to the PKTT because the directives predate the signing of the new organogram.
No, but the organogram has nothing to do with it was not designed to fit the PK. It was not designed in response to the PKTT. The two are mutually exclusive.
Okay. Thank you very much, Chair. I think I'm done for now.
Yeah, no, you deserve a standing ovation. Thank you so much. Yeah. That as you can whisper to Honorable Breitenbach and tell her that the chair says that as 8 seconds, 8 Sonderlek.
You have a very low bar.
Thank you so much. Let's check the time first. It's 15:35. And then it ends at it's 40 minutes. Yeah. Yes. So you have 25 minutes plus 15. It's quarter past 4. Yeah.
Okay. No, thank you very much, Chair. DM, let's start from where you left off with Honorable Nhlanhla on the issue of a new study which gave birth to a new organogram that you say it was signed on the, in May 2025. In your statement on page 19, paragraph 58, you are saying there is a Brixton murder and robbery, which was established. When was it established?
The Brixton?
Yeah, the Brixton.
No, it in the olden days, the apartheid period, you had a murder and robbery unit, the Brixton murder and robbery unit, which it seems like it was doing a good job because I came to know about it in my village, where I come from in Zanin.
Okay.
Then and that is way back. So in the discussions about the organizational structure of SAPS, one raised this issue that, but you had things that were effectively working during the apartheid era.
Okay.
It's not everything that apartheid did which was wrong. There are things that they did which were helpful, which we can use in the new dispensation. It is in that context that we speak about that. And I think this then talks to the murder and robbery unit that is in the new in the organogram. I'm not saying that they were not working on this. I'm just saying it is there now in the organogram. Yeah.
Okay. Now, you are saying under the administration of the former Minister of Police, Minister Cele, you were also responsible for IPIT
Yeah.
and backlogs in court. Let's start with the first aspect, the IPIT. So what is the role of the Deputy Minister if he's responsible for IPIT?
No, it's the role that the minister play over IPD. They remain an independent police investigative directorate, but under the guidance of the minister.
So the classification process, do you know how it goes?
Classification of what?
Of information, documents by IPIT.
Yeah, they will. It's like any other department. You do work and get, depending on the sensitivity of the issues that you are dealing with, as the person responsible for that act, you classify the information. There are processes and procedures that they follow to do that.
So is it correct to say it's classified by the either
ED.
original owner or original author?
Yes, but the executive director is the custodian, is the accounting officer. Is the one that gives that stamp of approval.
So the minister does not get involved?
It's not his decision.
Okay. And then how would you describe your relationship with the former minister, Minister Cele?
Well,
Is there a dichotomy between the relationship that you had with him and the relationship that you have with the current minister, in terms of the working relationship?
Well, I had a good working relationship with both ministers. General Kele, I came to work with him now when I became deputy minister. And we haven't worked together before. Personality-wise, we are two different people, but we were able to find a way to work very well together. Ultimately, we worked very well. The current minister, I've known him before he became a minister when he was a provincial secretary of the ANC in KZN, and I was the provincial secretary in Limpopo, though he came at the tail end when the last term of my office as secretary, but almost a year or so that I worked with him, and we came to interface, even in this case, when I was premier. He became premier, but I exited quicker. The space, but we maintained contact over the years. But to come and work together in an office, it started now, and of course I looked forward to working with him, given the fact that I have worked with him before as secretary, and him being secretary of the province. I didn't foresee any difficulties. And we worked well from the beginning up till now. We still work well together. It's just this incident that happened, which has now brought us here. But otherwise, we work well and we relate very well.
Okay. So you said your functions are entailed in the performance plan, right?
My functions, as in 2018, 2019, I had delegated responsibilities signed off by the minister and myself.
Yes.
And this time around, we have not yet arrived at that. We were still working as and when tasks are assigned. Yeah.
Okay. So your functions remain valid for as long as the administration is valid. So they elapse when you go to another administration.
Yes. My delegated authority lapsed the day after the president was sworn in as the president of the republic.
Okay. So when the new minister comes in, he must formulate another performance plan for you. Then for how long, after how long should that task be done? Let me just ask it this way. In the previous administration, after how long was it done?
Well, it was done fairly quicker. And the reason being that I was dealing with a police officer, in the sense that General Kele was the national commissioner. And when I came in, he was a minister appointed in 2018 when President Ramaphosa became president in the 5th administration. So when the 6th administration came, General Kele was reappointed as Minister of Police. So you had somebody who was fairly conversant with his responsibilities. And that explains why it was quick. With Minister Mkhunu, he had to understand the complexities of the institution. Mind you, here you are talking of a department with 4 departments, basically 5 departments in one. your police, your DPCI, your civilian secretariat for police, and IPID, and ultimately CIRA, and the entities like your DNA board, DPCI judge. Those are the instruments that belong to this one department. So it's not, you can't just walk in and suddenly know who must do what. You need to fully understand. When you delegate people what you understand yourself. Yeah.
So does it mean even the other DM, because we have two deputy
Yeah.
ministers, right?
Yeah.
Does not have functions that are delegated to him?
Yes, noted yet.
So
That's it.
both of you.
Yeah.
Now, if you are to be honest with us or with South Africans, do we need deputy ministers? Do we need two deputy ministers in SAPS?
Absolutely.
Under the circumstances, because you are, I think you are, how many months have you been in office?
So
Have you spent
almost a
in
year.
office?
A year.
A year. You have spent 12 months in office
Yeah.
with no delegated functions, because that indirectly means that you add no value to the minister's work. If after 12 months he has not given any function to you through a performance agreement. So he is simply saying, you guys are not adding any value to my work. So there's no need for me to formulate any performance agreement or any performance plan that delegates functions to you. Because a performance plan is triggered by the practical need, by a practical need. They don't just take it from the atmosphere. When there is a need for you to do something, they write that need down and give you responsibilities to resolve those needs. Now, that has not happened for 12 months. Now, do two deputy ministers add any value under the current form?
Definitely they do, Honorable. It doesn't mean that delegations, because delegations have not done, therefore, the department can function without deputy ministers. It doesn't mean that. There is relevance to their creation. And as I said, that SAPS is not like other ministries. It's a huge department. A department that is complex in how it is structured. There you have 4 entities that are in themselves departments. And you need to preside over them. So yes, there is a need and a necessity. The delay, it's a delay that we have had, but that delay cannot explain why you can't have deputy ministers. It had nothing to do with that.
Yeah, no, I hear you, DM, but I disagree. A delay for 12 months, not just an ordinary delay, for 12 months without any task given to you.
No,
in
no,
terms of, I know that now it's issue-based,
Yeah.
but it's not in terms of the performance plan or in terms of the performance agreement. And that makes things to be difficult for you, because I know that, I know you as a politician. I know that you are an efficient person. So I'm sure that even the current circumstances, they are a frustration to you, because you end up sometimes not knowing what to do, because there's actually nothing that gives you a responsibility from a performance plan. And the delay is inexcusable. It was going to be excusable maybe if it was a delay of 1 month, 2 months, but you have spent 12 months in office without a performance agreement. And whereas you are 2, we're not talking about 1 deputy minister, 2 deputy ministers.
No, look, there is no way that the delays that we have experienced, you can say on the basis of that you don't need deputy ministers. You can't. I believe the nature of the organization you are dealing with necessitated the need for that. and you must deal with the delays. And I think, like I said earlier on, Honorable, that if the Minister Mkhwanazi, tomorrow we rise and we conclude and he must come to work on Thursday, I'm certain that delegations will be attended to. He's ready to do that.
So, DM, can a justification that says the reason why you were not consulted as deputy ministers is because there is no performance plan or agreement that was given to you. So actually a need to consult you did not arise because of that prevalent fact. Would you agree with that? Would that justification accord with logic?
I don't think it will be appropriate or correct to reach that conclusion on Honorable. You can't, on the basis of that letter, then conclude that that is the motivation why it was crafted the manner in which he did, because it's not. He himself have said before you that he was resting at home and he was thinking about the tasks at hand, and he decided to pen that letter, and nothing beyond that motivated him to do it the way he did. And I think he concedes as well that yes, he has written the letter, but also those who felt things should have been handled differently, they should have picked up a call. And I think one of the honorables here asked a question to say, while you expect a call, why didn't you call as well? Didn't you think it's wise for you to call? And I guess he considered that it's both ways. So it really had nothing to do with efficiency or non-efficiency of deputy ministers. It's a decision that was made, and I think with retrospect, it could have been made differently.
Okay. The minister, when he was here, he cited the Constitution as a source which gives him powers to do, which gave him powers to do what he did on the 31st of December. And he said the Constitution gives him a right to issue directives.
Yeah.
Now, my reaction to that is that there is a difference between a directive and an instruction. A directive must be given in terms of the constitutional order. If the Constitution gives me a right to open this bottle, and it gives you a right to give me a direction, it doesn't mean that you can open this bottle on my behalf. It means you can say to me, Nomvalo, I think you must open this bottle. And then a directive is limited to that extent. A directive can't mean that you can take a decision on my behalf. Now, if I characterize what the minister did, I characterize it as an instruction. It's beyond a constitutional order. Scenario will be a situation where the minister calls the National Commissioner and say, National Commissioner, in my view, there is absolutely no need for this PKTT at this moment. It does not add any value anymore. It is wasteful expenditure. So in my view, the task team must be disbanded. So what the minister did, in my view, is that he did what was supposed to be done by the National Commissioner under the name of a directive. And that was a serious misunderstanding of his constitutional obligation on his part. Do you agree with me if I put that scenario?
Well, the